Hey guys, Chad Trofgerben here, and today we are going to draw a character in Adobe Flash. Now this is part one of a series of tutorials I am going to start doing, and hopefully by the end of this series you'll be able to create a basic animated Flash movie based off the lessons that I have shown you here. So, okay, I'm just going to jump right in and I'm just going to get started. So the first thing you need to do is obviously have Flash open. So once you have Flash launched, you'll probably have a similar splash screen here like I do. Just go ahead and click on Flash File ActionScript 3.0 in the Create New column right here. And we will have a new document ready to go and ready to allow us to create a character. So the first thing you need to be aware of is there are like unlimited ways to draw in Flash, or to draw in any program for that matter. A lot of Flash animators believe in using only shapes to create everything that they do in their Flash movies. And this is because it actually keeps the file size down when you are doing when you're exporting your files, and it allows it to stream faster. Well, I actually don't do only shapes. As a matter of fact, a lot of my works are like on places like YouTube, and so the file size thing isn't really a factor for me, but it might be for you. So you can kind of keep that in mind. Anyway, you can follow along with how I do things, and then you can decide to tweak it for your own style if you choose to. Okay, the first thing I am going to do is draw a head. And for this, I do actually use one of the shape tools. It's the oval tool. And so I'm just going to go ahead and select that. So if we come over to our tool panel right here, and we see the rectangle tool here, if we hold in our mouse button and go over to oval tool, we will have that selected. The next thing I am going to do is I'm going to dictate the line color and the fill color. Now some people don't use lines at all when drawing. In this case, I'm going to use the lines just to it's kind of easy to show you how to do stuff with lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to want a black line, and that's what I'm choosing right now. This is the line color. So all you do is click that rectangle, and then you choose your color. I'm just going to choose black. And then you have your fill color right here. And in this case, I'm just going to choose kind of a skin color, tone color right here. Just click that. And for the stroke size, I tend to go 3.0 when doing outlines of characters. Oops. But that is actually kind of a personal choice, and that's up to you. You can make the line as thick as you want, obviously. So, okay. With my oval tool selected, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to draw kind of an oval right here. And I'm going to make it kind of more vertical than it is horizontal, just for this character. And right about there is fine. We'll just let it go. Okay. Now, if you'll look down here, you'll see that we only have one layer. And when we have a solid dot on the timeline, that means something is on that layer. If I just delete this really quick, you'll see once I have nothing there, that it's actually an outlined circle. It's not filled in. This means that there is nothing on that layer. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm just going to undo what I did here so I can get my oval back. And another thing you might want to do when starting off too is you might want to name your layers when going through. I tend not to do that, and it's probably a bad habit, but it makes things a lot easier. And to name your layer, you just simply go over to the layer name and double click it. And I'm just going to name this head, and this hit enter. Another thing you want to keep in mind too is when going through all this, it really helps if you do things on separate layers. Not everything has to be on separate layers, but it really does make things easier if you need to edit something really quick and all that stuff, which I will be showing you here really shortly. Okay, so we have our head, or the base of our head I should say. Next, I am going to draw a chin. My cartoons are very whimsical in nature, and they're very cartoony, if you will. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a big chin in this guy. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and hit create new layer. And now we have a layer above the head, which is what we want. And I'm just going to double click and name this chin and hit enter. With my oval tool still selected and at the same line width and everything, I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to draw a circle like right about that and release it. And now we have a circle overlapping another circle. If you come down here and you take this chin layer and you move it below the head, you'll see the chin actually goes behind the head. And so that's how the layers sort of work. But for this, I want the chin over the head. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is I want to come over here to the eraser tool, which is located right there, and click that. You have a lot of options with the eraser tool, and it's actually a pretty cool thing. Because if we come down to this icon way at the bottom here, it's called eraser mode. And if we hold the button in and look at our options here, we have the ability to erase lines only. And this basically means we will be erasing the line of an object and not the fill color. Again, pretty cool, and allows you to kind of micromanage some stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here actually. So I'm going to take the zoom tool and just kind of zoom in a little like that. And then go back to the eraser tool. I'm going to erase this line right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start here and kind of work my way across to right about there. So there we go. And as you can see, it kind of looks like the chin is protruding out of his face now, as opposed to just a circling on top of it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is draw an ear. And it's basically the same concept as the chin. So let's take a look at that. So let's go ahead and create a new layer for the ear. So let's come down here again, hit the new layer icon, and a new layer will be set on top of the other two. Double click the layer name and then just type in ear and hit enter. And now we're going to go over to the oval tool again and then make sure we're still in the same stroke size and color and all that, which we are. I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to draw another circle. I'm just going to kind of draw it on the outside this time and then release. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the selection tool, which is located right up here. Click that, come back over to our ear, double click that, and when I do that, it selects the entire thing, the feel and the line. And I'm going to move it over here. And the reason why I did it on the outside is just so I have a little more control as to where I want it, because I might want it a little lower or a little higher. It's kind of hard to tell that until you actually draw it. So, but right about here looks good. And just click off. And again, we have the same thing where we have a circle over the head. So we're just going to go ahead and fix that with the eraser tool. So we just come over to here, click that, and then come back here. I'm just going to go ahead and erase this line right here. There we go. So now we kind of have, and now it kind of looks like it's an ear sticking out of the head, which is what we want. So, okay, we're doing pretty good so far. Moving on. The next thing I'm going to do is the eyes. I usually do the eyes, nose, mouth, and then I do the hair, and then I move on to the body. And again, this order, is all dependent on you, depending on what you're comfortable with. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, again, double click, and name this one Eyes. I'm going to go for the oval tool again, and click that. And this time, depending on your style, again, usually stuff inside the face, I actually set 1 point below what I have for the outline sketch. So I have a 3-point outline for the head, but now I'm going to do a 2-point stroke for the eyes, nose, and mouth. It's just kind of something I've developed, kind of a style I've developed through the years. But again, that's something that you can mess around with your own styles if you choose to do that. And for the eyes, of course, I'm going to make them white. So let's click this, the fill and then make it white. Okay, with your oval tool selected, you come over to the head. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to draw kind of a oval about that. That looks good, and release. I'm going to go up to the selection tool again, click that, come over here, and then double click the circle, and then I'm going to nudge it up with my arrow tool because I think it should be up slightly, and then over a little. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. If you go up to Edit, Copy, or if you do Control C or Command C, and then Edit, Paste in place, basically what happened was I just pasted the object, I duplicated the object basically. And if you just click and drag this, you'll bring it out. Since I pasted it in place, it was later on top of the other one. That's why it did that. And you don't have to paste in place either, but it does come in handy later on when you're animating. So, okay, the eyes are kind of further apart. Maybe it could use some tweaking, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this eye and then nudge it over a bit. And there we go. Looks pretty good. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is create the pupils. Again, another layer. Just click that, double click, name it pupils. Go over to the oval tool, and this time again for the pupils, I'm actually not going to have a stroke. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to click this black box. I'm going to go up to this white square with a red line going through that. That means it's nothing, basically. You're not using it, and click that. And then I'm going to take the fill color and make it black. Okay. With the oval tool selected, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to hold in Shift and then click and drag. And when you hold in Shift, it creates a circle that is symmetrical. It's not like an oval or anything. You can't stretch it out, as you can see. It's just a circle. And that's what I would like to do. So I'm going to create a circle like right about that big. I'm going to take the selection tool, click it, nudge it with my arrows to kind of make the pupil go that way. And then I'm going to Command C and then Command V, which is copy and paste respectfully. Again, you could do it through the menu if you want to, but I like to use shortcut keys. And I'm going to paste as another pupil on the same layer. And it's going to take the pupil up and put it on the same eye. And it's going to need to move up just a little bit and then a little over. And there you go. Now you have eyes. As you can see, our character is starting to come together, which is really kind of cool to see as you kind of go along with this. The next thing I'm going to create is the nose. And now this is where I start to differ from other Flash animators. I actually don't use shapes for the nose and for the body and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you how I do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, I'm going to take the eyedropper, and then I'm going to come over to the line of the eye, the black line right there, and click that. That will give us the same line type, stroke 2.0 and a black color, just as this line is. And of course you can manually select that, but just kind of easier sometimes just to use the eyedropper to make sure you're using the same line types. And now I'm going to come over here to the pencil tool and click that. And now I'm going to draw a nose. So starting right about here, I'm going to click, hold, and drag and go down. And then I'm going to loop around kind of like this. And then just go like that and release. And there we go. It's a nose. So, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Uh-oh, I forgot to do something though. I forgot to make this on a new layer. If this ever happens, all you have to do is come over here to the selection tool and click that. And a really easy way to kind of do this stuff is the nose is actually on the pupils layer right now, and we want it on its own layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to my timeline here, and do you see this lock symbol right here? I'm going to click it. That's going to lock all the layers, which means you can't edit them at all. You can't even click on them when the layers are locked. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to unlock the pupil layer and then come over here with my selection tool and click, hold, and drag, and then select the nose. And with all the other layers locked, I don't select the face when I'm doing that. And I'm just going to edit and cut it out, and then come down here and make a new layer, and then name it nose. And then I'm going to go edit, paste in place. And then there you go, it's back where it needs to be. That's what paste in place is really good for too. And now you don't have to worry about redrawing the nose. In case if you ever do that, which I do sometimes do that, if you're going quickly and you forget to make a new layer for something. And it is good to put everything on separate layers, as I said. You can always just cut it out really quick and then just replace it. Okay, now let us make a mouth. Again, make a new layer, double click it, and then name it mouth. Again, I'm going to use the line tool, or the pencil tool, I'm sorry, and then come over here to right about here. And I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and then I'm going to go up like this, and then down, and over, and then down, and then over like that. And then there you go. And now I'm going to make another line on the mouth going down and kind of looping like that. What I'm going to do there then is come over to the paint bucket tool, come back, and then fill it in. Sometimes if you can't fill something in like I'm having a problem with right now, you can come down here to this icon right here when you have the paint bucket tool selected. It's called the gap size tool. Click and hold, and then you can adjust here. Go down to, if you ever have problems with this, try using close large gaps first. This tells Flash that if there's a large gap somewhere, it should fill it in anyway. So let's come back here and click it, and there we go. Got it filled in. So, okay, our guy is starting to come together. The next thing I'm going to do is draw the hair. So, the first thing I'm going to do is what I did with the eyes when I was doing the nose. I'm going to take the eyedropper tool and then select the line type right here. But first I gotta unlock my layers. So be sure you do that. Just go like that. Just double click it. Then come back here and then click. And now you have your 3.0 a stroke size and your black line ready to go. Come up here to the pencil tool, and then we're going to create a new layer, and then we're going to name it hair. Oops, there you go. Okay. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and draw some hair. Now hair can be kind of tricky. It depends on kind of what hair you want, obviously. But I'm just going to kind of go ahead and do something kind of standard here. So I'm just going to start right here, kind of where the line goes down from the ear is usually where I start. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and go down here, and then maybe make kind of a sideburn thing. And then I'll come up, maybe down a little to kind of just kind of go like that. Just kind of release and scroll up here. And then just kind of go ahead and make some sort of funky hair here. And just come down there and meet the line. Okay, there you go. And then you go ahead and just find your paint bucket tool again. And again, I should also mention that the paint bucket tool is shared in the same slot with the ink bottle tool. And if you ever need to access a paint bucket tool when the ink bottle tool is here, go ahead and click down and hold your mouse button down, and then you'll get the option to appear. And then just click the paint bucket tool. Let's go ahead and go up to our color here, and let's have him have some brownish hair. Then we go over here and just hit fill, and then there we go. We have our hair filled in. It's good to go. We have the head pretty much done. Oops, I guess we do need some eyebrows though. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer, and then just double click layer 9 here and just name it brows. Hit enter. Now I'm going to use the line tool. Just go ahead and click that. And now we're going to go over here. And we're just going to go ahead and the line tool basically draws straight lines. So just going to go ahead and kind of draw a line down kind of like this. And then draw down like this. And then I'm going to go kind of like that. And then up. So then I'm going to go ahead and select the paint bucket tool. And then change the color to black. And go like that. Selection tool, I'm just going to kind of nudge this up a little. And then just like the eyes, I'm going to go ahead and Control C and then Control V and get another brow. And then what I'm going to do now though is I'm going to move this up. And they're kind of facing the same way, which doesn't really look right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Modify, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And then the shape will flip horizontally, so then it looks symmetrical. And I'll just move that over a little. And there we go. We have our eyebrows. Okay, now let's go ahead and get started on the body. The first thing I usually do is draw the neck, which is pretty simple because all I really do is draw a rectangle for the neck. So let's go ahead and create a new layer for the neck. I'm just going to come down here, click Create New Layer, double click the layer, and then rename it so we know what it is, and then hit Enter. Now I'm going to come over here to the Shape tool, and I'm going to select the Rectangle tool, like that. And now I'm going to make sure that I'm at stroke 3.0 and that my color is the same as my face, which it looks like it is. And if it's not, like I said, you can always use the eyedropper tool and just select your line and your colors so you have the same thing going on. And now with the rectangles tool selected, I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down here a little and then click, hold, and drag and then create kind of a neck here. Just go ahead and that's about right. Let go. Now what I'm going to do is go up to the selection tool and click that and come back here and double click that. And another thing you can do too, instead of double clicking like I do, I don't know why, that's just kind of a habit I do when I'm selecting simple shapes, but you can also select the layers down here. I mean, that's another thing what the layers are good for. So like for the neck, if I want to click the neck, I just click the neck layer right there and I have the whole thing selected. So that's just another alternative. Anyway, I'm going to come over to the Free Transform tool, which is located right here, and click that. And with the neck selected, it creates a bunch of little points surrounding the neck. And this basically allows us to resize the neck or to rotate it, which is what we want to do right now. So if we come down to the bottom right dot here, you'll see a little icon appears, and it looks like it's like a half circle with an arrow. We're going to go ahead and click, hold, and drag, and we're going to tilt it slightly this way. So, and there you go. The next thing we need to do is we need to take the neck layer and drag it to the bottom because the neck is below the head. And if we go that and let go, you'll see that our neck is now below. I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this with the Free Transform tool just a little bit more, and then go ahead and move it up slightly like that. And there you go. And with the Free Transform tool, you can move things as well when you click the center, like I just did. Or you can use the Selection tool, whichever you prefer. Okay, now we are going to draw the body. So let's kind of scroll down here a little bit so we have some room to work. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to make a new layer above the neck but below the head. So just go ahead and click New Layer and then just name it Body. Now, just like all the just like kind of everything I've been doing here so far, save for the shape of the head and the neck, I'm going to use the line and pencil tools for this. The first thing I'm going to do is use the line tool. Just go ahead and click that. I'm going to come over here, make sure it's at 3.0 or whatever line size you have it at. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to kind of draw just kind of a triangle. So I'm going to, not too big, but I'm going to go ahead and start here and just kind of go like this. Right about that. Let go. I'm going to go down a little like this. I'm going to go up like this. So that's about right. Now I'm going to go over to the pencil tool. And I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to draw a little like this. Just kind of get an idea here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw the body. Now this takes some time when you're drawing bodies. I mean, it can take a few attempts and stuff. I do it all usually in one stroke, depending on the body type. For this body type, I'm going to give him a gut. Just kind of go with something here. So I'm going to go ahead and start here and kind of just go down like this. And then kind of go like this. And then go ahead and kind of draw the guttish area. And then loop around. And then get back up. And then go like that. There we go. And then, as you can kind of tell, if you see down here, it's kind of broken apart when you kind of do a one shape like that with the pencil tool. That sometimes happens. It's not quite connected. This can be sometimes fixed if you do this. Click on the body layer right here. So you select your body. And then come over to the selection tool. With that selected, come down here to the bottom, and you'll see we have a smooth tool. Go ahead and click that a couple times to kind of get it'll kind of fill in the seams and it'll kind of make things a bit more smoother. And so, kind of go ahead and there we go. His body's a little misshapen. With the selection tool, you can tweak stuff. So like, if I come over here, and you'll see that when I kind of approach this line, a little line appears under my selection tool. If that happens, this means you can kind of adjust the line. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of try to do that really quick. Just kind of go like this, and then kind of go like that. And maybe go a little bit up here. So, okay, that works. So, next, what we are going to do is we're going to draw the legs. So, let's go ahead and do that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of draw a pants line on the torso. Just go ahead and click the line tool and then come over to your torso, and right about here I'd say I'm going to go ahead and just draw a line kind of like that and just release. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer again over the body layer, and then I'm going to double click and name it leg and hit OK. With the line tool still selected, I'm just going to come down here a little bit. I'm off the stage now, but I will adjust this when I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and draw a leg. Since he's wearing pants, or I'm assuming he's wearing pants, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and kind of go down to right about here. And then from there I'm going to click, hold, and drag again, and then kind of go down to about here. And then click and go over like this. And then like that, and then like that, and then close it off like that. I'm going to select the leg layer so I can select my leg, and I'm going to nudge it over with my arrow tools. It's to right about there, I'd say. And when I said he was wearing pants is because when you're drawing pants, it's different from drawing a bare leg. Obviously, if it's a bare leg, you're going to see more of the details of the leg. When it's pants, they're probably going to be more loose-fitting, unless if you're not making them loose-fitting. So, okay, we have that. Now I'm going to actually fill this in really quick so I can kind of visualize this a bit better. So I'm going to come over here and then select my paint bucket tool. I'm going to go into my color, and I'm going to select kind of a bluish color right here. Click OK. I'm just going to fill this in. I'm also going to go ahead and fill this in. Whoops, we don't want to fill in the whole thing. Click out. There we go. Fill that in right there. So, got that. So now we can kind of visualize this a bit more. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another layer, and I'm going to create a shoe. So I'm going to go ahead and just select my pencil tool and come down here a little bit, and I'm just going to go ahead and go down, and then go up, over, down. I'm going to go over here and then select my line tool and go like this, and then like this, and then close it off. You always have to make sure you close things off when you're doing this stuff, or else you won't be able to fill it in. So make sure you keep that in mind. Go back to the paint bucket tool, select a different color. Let's just go ahead and select black. Come over to the shoe and then select that, and it's filled in. Now, of course, the shoe is overlapping the leg, and we don't want that. So we're just going to come down here, oops, and make sure you name it. See, I sometimes forget to do that myself. Foot. Now I'm just going to come and move this down below the leg, so then the pants are overlapping the leg. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just delete this line on the leg really quick, because it doesn't really look right. There we go. Now I'm going to take the leg layer, selecting it just by clicking on it, so I select the leg, and I'm going to go to Edit, Copy. I'm going to go down and make a new layer, and then name this Leg 2, and then I'm going to Paste, and I'm going to adjust the leg, move it with the selection tool over to right about here. And then with the free transform tool, remember that's the resizing one right there, I'm going to come over here and just make it a little bit smaller, because that's the, it's further away, so it's not going to be that much smaller, but it's on kind of a different plane. So let's go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to take the leg 2 layer and then move it down below everything. Actually, I'll just go ahead and do that to be safe. So then we have it below that. Let's go ahead and move it over. So it's on the other side of his body, basically. That's what it's going to look like. And I'm going to do the same thing now with the shoe. Click the shoe, and click the foot layer to make sure you have it all selected. Go ahead and edit, copy, or Control or Command C if you like that instead. And then go to New Layer, double click, name this foot 2, paste it, move it down with the selection tool, and then move the layer down below. And then we'll probably want to resize this a little as well, since we already resized the leg. Let's just go like that. And there you go. So now we have our legs. Now, if we come back up, basically the only thing that's remaining is the arm. That's the main thing remaining. I'm going to go ahead and fill in this this torso as well now, just so we can kind of visualize things a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and select the paint bucket tool, go to here and select a color. Let's see here. Oh, let's use green. That'll work. Click green, come over here, and then fill that in. It filled this part in. I don't want that to be filled in, actually. I'm going to make that a different color, because that's kind of like his undershirt. So I'm going to come back here. Let's select white. And I'm going to come over here and just fill that back in. So then we kind of have an undershirt thing going here. And now, I'm going to go ahead and make the arm. Now, of course, it's kind of like the leg. If you're doing a bare leg, if you're doing a bare arm and a bare leg, it's going to look different from a long sleeve shirt or a panted leg. Is that a word? Panted? Well, I just made it up. Anyway, so let's just go ahead, and I'm going to make a long sleeved shirt arm, basically. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the line tool, and then I'm going to make a new layer and name this arm. I'm going to drag this layer all the way to the top of our layers right away. So it's at the top, we have that layer selected. Now with the line tool, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line kind of going down to right about there. That'll work. I'm going to draw another line going this way, then this way up, and then over like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw kind of another line right here, because I'll have the undershirt coming through that part. So I'll just go ahead and fill this in really quick. Selecting the green color with the eyedropper tool. Just going to go ahead and fill in the shirt right there. And then I'm going to take the paint bucket tool again and then fill in this bottom part with white. So I selected the white color. And then I'm going to just take this top line, and I'm actually going to, you can either delete it or you can kind of oval it like this, depending on the kind of look you want. That'll be kind of act as a shoulder. I'm just going to go ahead and move this up a little, kind of like that. So you can go ahead and do it like that. One more layer I'm going to create for the hand. Let's hit OK. And then I'm going to select the pencil tool, and then come down here, and I'm going to create a hand like so. Like that. And then I'm going to select the eyedropper, select the skin color, and then fill it in with the eyedrop tool. And then I'm going to bring the hand below the arm, so then it's like coming through the shirt. I'm going to go ahead and just move it up a little. So there you go. Just kind of zoom out here. We have our character. Pretty simple. It's a pretty simple character. You can go ahead and add details too. Like if we want to go ahead and zoom in here, we can click the body layer. So we have the body selected. And then we can add some details. Like if we take the line tool, we can come down here and add like a zipper, like that. If we want, we could add a pocket, so we can just kind of go ahead and draw this, and then take the pencil tool and come on down here like that, and go like that. You have your pocket. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. And so you can go ahead and mess around and change the color of the hair, and with your layers, it makes it a lot easier to edit certain parts of the body now. And so it's a lot easier to do stuff, it's a lot easier to edit, and as you'll see in time, it'll be a lot easier to animate. So, alright guys, well there you go, there's your first character. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope you guys stay tuned for other sections in this animation fest of tutorials I shall be doing. So, alright, thanks for watching.